The New South Wales Government Roads Z12s were a fleet of 440 built American-type steam locomotives that were built by the Bear, Peacock and Company, Dobbs & Co. and the Atlas Engineering Works between 1877 and 1882 for operations across the New South Wales railway system. Originally classified as the C79s and the C80s later on in their lives, they were the first to be mass-produced by the New South Wales Government Roads system, with their patented designs being based on the Metropolitan Roads A-Class, which were used on the London Underground system that eventually replaced the broad gauge section of the line that was used by the Great Western Railway at the time. The first batch of 30 were built by the Bear, Peacock and Company and were placed into service as the 79 class between 1878 and 1879, as they were the first locomotives to be imported with the Westinghouse continuous air brakes, which were already fitted into them, with the second batch of 26 coming from the Dobbs & Co., and these arrived between 1880 and 1881, with a further 4 from Bear, Peacock and Company at the same year. A local manufacturer from Haymarket known as the Atlas Engineering Works were contracted to build 8 of the 79 classes, which were delivered between 1881 and 1882. They would be used on the express trains and mail trains across the system until newer and modern power came into the scene, and it was soon relegated to hauling secondary duties and later branch train services that radiated out of Dubbo, Ferris Creek, Narrabee, and Moree, with some of them being fitted with cow catchers to work on unfenced lines across the system, with even one of them being rebuilt into a CC79 class, which were a 442 Atlantic-type steam locomotives that were used across the Sydney suburban system, with a further 19 following by 1902, and later on were classified as the Z13s. After the electrification of the suburban network across Sydney, 77 of the C30s were rebuilt into the C30Ts, which were a 460 type steam locomotives. That soon displaced the Z12s, with 23 being withdrawn from service between 1928 and 1933, with the rest of the Z12s operating until the 1950s on branch line services. In 1955, for the centenary of the rail operations in New South Wales, number 1243 was restored to its original livery, and it was soon joined by 1210 in December of 1959, as the both of them would pull the vintage train across the state. As for the Z13s, they were transferred over to Newcastle after the arrival of the Z30s, where they were placed on the suburban traffic along the Carringford, Morpeth, and Warren branches, with even a few being sold off to other companies, while a fourth one was scrapped. During their later years, their main duties were working along the Parnella branches, the Picton to Metagona loop line, the Yasound branches, and on school trains along the north coast from Coffin Harbours to Kempsey and from Casino bound for the border loop. As of today, there are 3 preserved Z12s and 3 preserved Z13s with us to this day, starting from 1210, which is currently at the Canberra Railway Museum, as the engine was unlikely to be operational due to some parts being stolen. 1219 is currently owned by the New South Wales Railway Museum, as the locomotive was initially at the Enfield Locomotive Depot and then to Belmere in 1975, and later on to the Broadmeadows Locomotive Depot in 2009. And as of February 2024, 1219 was moved to the Heritage Hub at the Chorola Workshops in Sydney. Z12 number 1243 is now a part of the Powerhouse Museum's transport collection under the custody of the New South Wales Rail Transportation Museum as an operational exhibit until 1982, when it was moved to the Powerhouse Museum for permanent display in Otimo, Sydney, where it stands today. But it will be soon moved bound for Parramatta at the new site of the museum in the future. As for the Z13s, all of the preserved members had moved into the Enfield Locomotive Depot, and later on, 1301 and 1307 were both sent to Thelmere in 1975, while 1308 was sent to Valley Heights within the same year. Later on, 1307 was sent to Yasstown Railway Station at the Yasstown Heritage Center in 1999, where it's on display at that station ever since. The Z12s and their rebuilt counterparts, the Z13s, while not the most iconic out of the engines that operated in New South Wales, they are still appreciated by pulling passenger trains across the system to even being operational and on stat display across different parts of the state. And it has kept up its status and its appearance ever since the 1870s.